Good evening, sim racing fans. On this 14th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks, the iSuperSpeedway.com racing series pays homage to our everyday American heroes, our first responders. It's round 2 on the season, and not only our first trip to Talladega, also going to be exciting to get our first look at the B-A main race format known as these feature races, but tonight's FDNY 343 NYPD 23 Never Forget Classic from Talladega get set to go underway from Lincoln, Alabama. First time at Dega on the season. Want to welcome you to LSRTV. Evan Pasocco, Andy Kessler, Laura Lawson, and the B main getting set to go at it first. 24 laps, 64 miles to set the field for the main event.
Yeah, this is awesome. We not only get to do it once, we get to do it twice. Talladega puts on a fantastic show with these cars. 3 wide. That's known to happen constantly here. Also, the fact that the start-finish line, Evan, is not quite in the center of the tri-oval, so these guys actually have to duke it out a few hundred feet past that, as it's just on the exit of the tri-oval. So lots of fun things when you come to Talladega, and namely its speed.
We always joke when we're talking about, tire strategy, fuel strategy, that I'm not very good at math. Well, if I'm the one that did the equation to center the start-finish line, that would explain a lot, because it's a good ways down from the tri-oval, which means that our restart procedure is going to be different from what we see at Daytona, but this race can very well be different because of where that start-finish line is when we come down to the end of it. We've been at Daytona for about 6 weeks in a row, all the way from the season for championship weekend through speed weeks and off week, and now into tonight, finally back at the hallowed grounds of Talladega Super Speedway for this race. It's round number 2 of 13 on the regular season before we go to the iSuper Chase and we get some playoff action to determine who will walk away as a champion. Still a long way to go until we get to that point. We'll be at Talladega again in 1 week's time for the Stars Fell on Alabama 250. That's going to be another one of our endurance events here on LSRTV. But as always, now we get to say it every week. We didn't necessarily get to say it all the time, as far as when we were talking about Daytona, the iSuper Duel, the shootout and such. But tonight we can continue to say it now. Win and you're in the championship. You get a trophy as well. It's going to be fun to say that for here on out. Over the B main, they have to get through that first, Andy. These B mains have always been, historically here on LSRTV, the most exciting finishes, and sometimes I can't understand why, because we're going to get the official transfer spot here in just a moment. The race control is going to pass the number along to us once the cars roll from the grid. If you're in there, you're into the race. You're going to get a number +1 for provisional, but we have seen so many times in these B mains, these guys wreck out of turn 4 because they want to win the B main, albeit the higher finish you get here, the better starting spot you'll get for the A main. But we've seen time and time again somebody wreck in the B main, not make it to the line, and they'll go from not wanting a third place finish to wishing they had it because they don't transfer in. So the B mains can always be interesting.
Oh yeah, it's no holds barred. It's just, it leads to a almost cutthroat. These guys really let it all hang out there, trying to get in. They don't know what spot it is that they're going to need to be in to fill it. But of course, like we talk about all the time, whenever you come out to race, whenever you come out the track, doesn't matter what track it is, you're always here to win. You want to win. A place like this, you always have a full field ready to come down to the stripe to get the win. You can come from last to first within a couple laps if you get the right help and the right drafting partner. So it's ruthless when you come in here to the B main trying to get that higher starting spot. You want to be up front for most of these races, because if there is any type of bobble by anybody, it can cause a big melee.
And the field of 27 drivers hit the grid. The top 10 to 12 spots have already been determined. The dash for cash a little bit earlier on tonight, determining in which order those drivers will start this race from here on out. Everybody here, first place, going to end up about 13th on the grid later on tonight, and they'll continue to drop on back. So not only do you want to transfer, but again, doesn't hurt to start up a little bit sooner. I'll tell you who's starting up front in this one, though. How about the 24 of Josh Hanner as we rack him and stack him? Let you know where they'll line up for the B main tonight on LSRTV. Josh Hanner puts the DuPont Automotive finishes Chevrolet on pole by 1/1000th of a second with a 50.659 over top of Corey Henry, who puts down a 660.
Seth the Merchant in the 32. He's going to roll off third, while the fourth place will be the 73 of Mark Brown.
Alex Gore in the Cessna Chevrolet will start this race from 5th position. Donaghy-Artano's Wrangler Jean Chevrolet as well. Going to start alongside him outside row 3. That's P6.
Starting off 7th inside of roll number 4 would be Ray Rittner in the 87, while the 48 of Josh Ball with a special tribute paint scheme will roll off 8th.
Both those cars on row number 4 sporting some patriotic paint schemes tonight. Paul Servant next row back. The Oreos machine will start from 9th. He was the fastest car in practice. Josue Ramirez yet to hit the grid, slated to 10th.
The 02 of Mitchell Reeves is going to start 11th, while Matt Quick in the 89 is going to start 12th.
Anthony Yancallo, driver of the 79 Chevrolet, will start from the 13th starting position. We'll see how that works out for him. Alongside him, going to be the 78 Cartoni Fenn in 14th.
The Dollar General 28 machine, driven by Shane Machichin, he's going to start 15th, while 16th will be the 8 of Dana Osborne.
Chad Keynes, number 96, will roll from 17th spot on the grid. 18th position, going to go to the 83. That's Ramon Evans.
The number 11 of Kelly Dahl is going to start 19th, while outside of row number 20 is the 088 of Ken Conley.
Glenn Hedrick back in the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series this season with the 911 Memorial paint scheme on board his Ford Fusion. Going to start this race in 21st. Larry Camp on the outside of row 11. He'll be 22nd.
The 13 car of Eugene Vernon is going to start 23rd, while Dan Harrington in the 82 will roll off 24th.
25th spot going to go to Daniel Ferguson and Tommy Holland, 26th.
And of course, shotgun on the field tonight in the number 18 is Jimmy Todd.
The Interstate Batteries Toyota at the back. The DuPont Automotive finishes Chevrolet at the front. Josh Haner going to be in control of this field. Big thing again is that although this is the feature race format, B main followed by A main, I like to call it big track race and short track style. Although it's a little bit different, same rules apply. No pushing in the corners. Lucky number going to be 19. 19, the spot to guarantee with ticket. 20th through 27th. One provisional going to be handed out based on points. The American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang pace car makes the abrupt left-hand turn down to the safety of pit road. We're glad to have you with us on LSRTV. Getting the FDNY, NYPD, never forget classic underway. B-Main takes the green flag at the start-finish line. Advantage barely to Josh Haner by 1/1000th of a second. Gonna get these cars up to song through 1 and 2.
It's going to take these guys about half a lap to a full lap to get up to speed. A little bit of help from the guy behind you, giving you the big push off of turn number 2. They're still side by side all the way through the field here down the super stretch.
24 on the inside of the racetrack started to lose some ground. Seth the Merchant with the assist in the GoPro Chevrolet. A little bit of a tap to the back end down the back straightaway puts the advantage back into Josh Haner's hand. Same storyline applies as we were talking about earlier in the trucks. First race on the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series schedule, where they're running not only under the new tire model, the new build, but with the dynamic racetracks. How much of a factor would that play into this race at these high speeds here at Talladega Superspeedway? And 2 sets of different races. Not a whole lot of time for marbles to really build up, because that A-main going to be a completely different race session inside the sim. So look at a clean racetrack for that when that point does come around. 64 miles though before we get to the end of this B-main. It tallies up to 24 laps. One of the longer feature races you'll see on the Season 5 schedule. Hand over the car length lead down on the inside of the racetrack to 12, sliding back a little bit. The reason the outside sliding back is they're losing their support. Just 3 cars up top side inside the top 10.
Now the bottom side's really stacked up right now. Like you said, 3 guys on the top side. That's being led by Corey Henry. He's got Mark Brown, and then the 48 of Josh Ball. They've all decided to stay on that high side. You can get the run. It's tough to do, but you need a lot more help than just those 3 cars when you got a whole freight train right behind them with about 15 to 20 cars on that bottom side. Right now, it looks like the top 4 are going to be able to break away from that outside line right now. Maybe not. Just the top 3. They're side by side right now. That is for 4th.
The inside lane, 4 car lengths to the good, and going to try to limit that to 3 as that 12 of Corey Henry making it side by side for 4th. The 9 though of Alex Gore on the inside of the racetrack. Not much of an issue being able to get through and clear yet again. So that Chevy gets to a little bit of breathing space, and behind him, the 87 right now with the second, very dark paint scheme on that Chevrolet. Kind of difficult to see the number from up here in the tower. That's another one of those patriotic memorial schemes that you'll see on track here tonight. He's doing a good job moving forward. Started 7th and 5th right now. He wants more. Corey Henry, though, really trying to keep that outside going, and he is very much so dependent on the push from the 73 of Mark Brown behind him, and as well that third car in line, the 48 of Josh Ball.
Yeah, now they get a little bit of run going through the back straightaway right there in the corner, so they gotta back off a little bit from the bumpers. Can't push through the corners. Here they come off turn 4, lose a little momentum, but he's able to work his way back up to that third spot right now as he's side by side with that 2 car. That's Donnie Giarratano on the inside.
Outside gain speed, they'll gain it into the corner. Problem is, when you go into the corner on the outside of the racetrack, the banking here at Talladega, you plow it into the 33 degrees of banking. It works against you on the outside because you're going up that 33 degrees. If you're on the bottom, you're almost diving it down the 33 degrees, trying to keep some momentum. So the inside, for sure, the place to be. The outside, what they have to rely on is then, well, coming back down that mountain of banking, out of 2 or out of 4, getting a big run. That's exactly what they do this time. Down into quarter number 3, Josh Ball, the number 48, still the third car in line. He's the caboose up top, but the outside may have some help here coming very shortly. But the 89 of Matt Quick, he's coming to join the party. The 02 of Mitchell Reeves just behind him. Outside's got now 5 cars, and that might make the inside lane a little bit nervous. They're starting to get up there nose to nose for the front spot.
That they are. The 12 of Corey Henry's actually made it to that second spot now, running side by side with Seth the Merchant. Top side getting a little weaker now as the 89 of Matt Quick starting to fall back a little bit, but here comes the 85 of Paul Servin. He's going to jump to the high side. He's going to jump right behind Josh Ball in that 48. Try to give that top side a little more help. Nope, he's going to fall back in line now, seeing that he's not getting a big run here. As now these top few cars have actually separated themselves. It looks like about the 16th place all the way back there by himself, and the 21 is Glenn Hedrick. So the top 15 or so are starting to split this pack away and pull away.
Jose Ramirez was slated to start this race in 10th. He put down a qualifying time to get there. Did not take the green flag. It is disconnected from the sim, so Ramirez not going to transfer to the A main. He'll get a DNS for this. And then Larry Camp is right now last place car on track, started 22nd. The Anheuser-Busch Chevy is dead last and 15 seconds off. No drafting help, so the longer we go green, the better the news gets for that team as he sits well and off. He talked about some of the stragglers. 15th, 16th on back, 1.4 seconds to 2.4 seconds off. Not out of touch with the lead pack necessarily. Not close enough if you just took 5 to go to challenge for the race win. But they're still there, and they're really not in all the melee of it, which could be a good strategy call. This time by, though, the outside of the racetrack for the first time tonight. Up at a new race leader, Corey Henry gets the race lead. The problem is, though, not going to be able to get clear quite yet down to 1. Josh Hanner will hold the nose there. It's got to be, I guess, some sort of a positive light Indy for the 12 team because, look, the outside now, again, only down to 3 cars up there. You don't need to win the race by clearing somebody. All you need to do is have a nose. So Corey Henry now knows he can do it. I'm sure, though, he'd like to get clear, though, right down in line on the inside. A little bit less strenuous if you're on the inside of the racetrack as opposed to being stuck up top.
Yeah, the problem is, though, too, is a lot of these guys, you know, they rely on these guys behind them to give them the push on that high side, and then they don't wait till the guy pushing them gets clear, so they kind of leave them out to dry, and we've seen that happen time and time again. So we'll see if Corey Henry can get him clear, can get Hanner clear here at some point, if he drops down or if he just sticks it out up there with Mark Brown, because Mark Brown and Josh Ball have stuck with him since the beginning of this race, so it'd be interesting to see if he's going to stick with those guys or if he's going to actually drop down in front of that 24 if he can get the lead.
Outside, they fall back about 3-4 car lengths, and then they slide back up again right there. They want, though, that to stay about 5 cars. They got 5 cars up there. They got to the race leader. They lost that 5, dropped down to 3, lost a little bit of speed. Reinforcements have showed up yet again. The 78 of Tony Fenn, he has help from behind him, but the 8 car of Dana Osborne, the 85 of Paul Servin, kind of working the outside of the racetrack as well. This is going to give that 12 of Corey Henry a serious shot at taking over the race lead. Again, has the lead at the start-finish line. Fastest lap of the race that time to Tony Fenn, the AC Delco Chevy, a 46.3 coming to the start-finish line. That's over 4 seconds quicker, Andy, in the draft right there than he did in the solo car lap qualifier.
It's just amazing how much the draft does play an effect on the speeds. As he getting out of the corner here just now into turn number 3, 208, 209 miles an hour. Super fast in a pack like this. When you're in a pack, there's really no air on these cars that are behind the leaders, or the lead cars of each line. So no air on them. That's why you'll see them on the screen here wiggle a lot. You'll see them kind of bobbing and weaving, and that's typically what ends up happening to cause a caution. Is you get a couple of these guys that's like almost synchronized of a little wiggle, and they end up making a little contact. And at these high speeds, it doesn't take much to get these cars around us. Now we got a real battle for the lead. It's the 32. Ascent the Merchant actually jumps out in front of Corey Henry. Now he gets a push by Corey Henry. He drops down in front of Josh Hanner in the 24, and we got a new leader here on the bottom line.
The classic feature race move. Jump out from behind the race leader. That stalls that 24 out for just a moment. You go to the outside, get the momentum, jump down in front. Set the Merchant will lead the lap, this time by at lap 11. It was the top spot on the board. Behind him, that 24, then the 2, the 9, the 87. That's how they stack up down low. It is still Corey Henry on the outside of the racetrack leading that charge. It is still Mark Brown second in line up top. It's still Josh Ball third in line up top. Those 3 cars have not left where they run right now all race long, and they'll be halfway through this B-main the next time by.
Halfway through already. It goes quick. 24 laps here at these types of speed go awfully quick. You don't have much time to get things done. As we look back, a few of these guys back at 20th on back here definitely have lost this front lead pack draft. Not going to help them here as we're halfway through this thing. They really need to get single file, get lined up, and get going right now if they want a chance at all to get this done. But ever since Seth the Merchant took the lead there, himself and the 24 machine of Josh Hanner, they haven't really relinquished much speed or the lead right now, as those are the only 2 cars single file for now as they head down the super stretch.
And down the super stretch they go, halfway in this B main. The field up 15th on back begins to start to spread. Magic number going to be 16. 16 cars in the lead draft. The transfer spot is number 19 right now. It's held by Kelly Dahl. Kent Conley, the first driver outside of that bubble. Halfway to the B main, the outside still running strong. How about 3 wide? The 2, Donnie Giratano trying to do what Seth the Merchant did. The 12 wants to leave him hanging, and instead the 12 is going to be the one left out to dry.
Yeah, it's unfortunate right there. The 73 of Mark Brown decided to stick with that middle line there. Now the 12 of Corey Henry was able to get back in line now. Now he finds himself behind Josh Ball. So instead of leading that outside line, now he's 4th in line on the high side. Now he's got some work to do to get around these cars to get back up to the lead again. But Donnie Giratano definitely making a power move right there and forcing his way to make it 3 wide, and then just hoping that somebody would go with him. And as long as they did, he was able to maintain that spot, and it worked out for him for the time being. Move him up a little bit more now to Alex Gore. He's 3rd in line on the inside line, making a run as the outside line still trying to get around, but I don't think anyone has gotten up to set the Merchant until right now as they head down into turn number 1. This is the first time anyone's gotten side by side when it just took the lead.
And you're not going to make that pass on the inside line in the middle of the corner. You got to time it so you can drop down just before you actually dive down into the corner, which means that, again, the run off the corner for the outside lane is essentially the solo determining factor in what you can or cannot do. But a big thing about making up ground on the outside of the racetrack is the side draft on these cars. The 2, the 73, the 48 up top. They have been there all race long, but they're not pinching 24 up top. The 2 of Giratano, I don't know about this. So Giratano went to the middle here, Andy. He got left, and now he wants to leave the 24. 4 wide now. Both that number 2 and the 73 going to get left out.
Left out, and they got a lap car coming as they're still 4 wide right now. The 73 and the 2 are trying to get out of the way.
Contact, there they go, Mark Brown. Hard into the outside wall, trying to navigate that lap traffic. Big wreck now at a quarter number 2. The 12 of Corey Henry. so long, all race long, on the outside of the racetrack. He'll crash into the outside wall. 73 of Mark Brown collected. And all but Josh Ball from that outside lane of the racetrack at the start of this race. Big problems down in 1 and 2. And it all started, there was too much to talk about at once there. And I was going to say is that it was kind of funny when you saw that 2 go to the outside, because again, Giratano jumped up top. He wanted the run on behalf of the guys up on the outside lane of the racetrack. The 12 went high because he didn't want to push the 2, tried to get everybody else to leave the 2. It didn't work. It dropped Corey Henry back. And then the 2 car did exactly what they did to him. And the 73 went to the middle. They went 4 wide, and both the 73 and the 2 got left out to dry. And then that lap car really was the big issue. 73 trying to give a lot of room so that nothing would happen. And it looks like Mark Brown came down just a little too bit, gave no room for the 96 of Chad King.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. Showed right there. Just a little touch. Enough to get that car out of whack. These cars are made to go straight. If at any point they start to lean the wrong way, they just get spun right around as soon as that air hits that side of the car the wrong way. So yeah, quickly around, big wreck, bunch of guys involved. That's going to cause a lot of these guys to have to go down, try to get some damage fixed, but they're definitely out of contention here in the B main. Just to point out the 4 wide, it happened because of that 48 car. What a gutsy move when he pulled down there, Evan, and he's the one that made it 4 wide. He just said, hey, I got to run. I got an opening. It's down to the end of this thing. I got to go. And he made it happen right there. A real gutsy move there, and he was able to make it stick.
They could tell that time was starting to run out, and now with about a 4-lap caution period here, they're going to have even less time to be able to get the job done. The field is behind that bright gold pace car, new for this build. iRacing partnering with the American Childhood Cancer Organization, the ACCO Ford Mustang GT pace car. Paces the field here at Talladega. We're with inside 10 laps to go. We'll step away for a brief moment on LSRTV and come back to see the first checkered flag on the evening. You're watching the FDNY 343, the NYPD 23. Never forget classic from Talladega with the iSuperSpeedway.com racing series on LSRTV.
Once its sights are set, nothing can stop the ferocious lion from capturing its prey. Relying on keen senses, lions search patiently before striking with alarming speed. Wait for it. Gotcha, Mr. Piece of Rubbish. He is truly the master of his environment. Do good, be a lion.
We're back live at the virtual Talladega Superspeedway on LSRTV for a special presentation of the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series Season 5 Championship. first taste of the feature race format here on Season 5. Currently working through the B main at the moment. Top 19 drivers guaranteed a spot into the A main. They'll join the other 10 to 12 drivers who have already locked themselves in and determined the top 12 spots in the A main event a little bit earlier on tonight in the Dash for Cash as things were getting wrapped up with the Rod Car Truck Tour. Seth the Merchant leads right now, lap number 19. That means that this next time by, that's going to be 5 laps to go, Andy, and that means a caution would end this race. So just like that, you go from starting to talk about how you're at halfway to you're already in a final restart situation. And we saw guys at the back of the pack here outside the top 15 dropping back to stay out of the chaos. Well, now they can guarantee that there's going to be chaos, but you can't back off it because you need to make that cut line.
Yeah, you need to make the cut line. And a lot of guys that are at the cut line at the moment are guys that were caught in that accident. So it's going to be a matter of who fixed the most damage they could. Who's got a little bit of speed left, and it's going to be interesting to see who will actually come out above that cut line there. But we still got a lot of heavy hitters up front here, expecting this final 5 laps here to be something special and something to watch. We don't want to miss it.
5 laps to go, and lights on the pace car are extinguished, so we get set for a final restart. Seth the Merchant, Josh Hanner, Alex Gore, Josh Ball, Ray Rittenauer right now sit inside the top 5. Matt Quick, Glenn Hedrick, Tony Fenn, Dana Osborne, and Donnie Garitano. So far, so good. They're in the top 10.
Running 11th right now is Kelly Dahl in the 11. The 79 of Anthony Yankello is 12th. 13th is Tommy Hall. Kent Connolly in the 088 is 14th. 15th is Ramon Evans in the 83. The 13 of Eugene Vernon is 16th. 17th will be Dan Harrington. The 25 of Daniel Ferguson runs 18th. The final car in the cutoff is the 28 of Shane Machichin. And 19th and 20th is Jimmy Todd.
Final restart on the B main, and this race is still far from over. You wreck, it'll be a yellow checkered finish. I'm sure a lot of drivers, though, would just take it. They just want to get to the A main. But again, as we mentioned pre-race, every time you dangle a checkered flag in front of somebody, it's very easy for them to forget that, okay, this is just a qualifier race. They want to go for it. I have a feeling that we get to see some late race fireworks here for the first feature race event on this calendar season. Seth the Merchant on the inside will be the race leader when they take the green flag. Josh Hanner on the outside in the 24. Alex Gore, Josh Ball. Gore's going to be pushing the Merchant. Ball's going to be pushing Hanner. Those are 2 Hannerick teammates up top in the 24 and the 48. Those could be the most important cars on this restart, is how good of a push they give to that driver in front of them on the front row. The base car is dived down to the way. We round through the tri-oval, waiting for the final green flag. Green flag flies back in the air. We go. B main racing to the checkered flag. 4 laps remain at Talladega. That time by the start-finish line. Got to get these cars back up to full speed down in 1 and 2. 32, though, doesn't have help. Can the outside capitalize?
The outside is trying to capitalize right now with the 2 teammates sitting there, Josh Hanner and Josh Ball. The 2 Joshes trying to make that I-side work as they get off of turn number 2. They have the slight advantage. Does Hanner stay up top with his teammate, or does he drop down in front of the 32 of Seth the Merchant? He's going to drop down. He's going to leave his teammate out to dry right now. So now the top side's going to fall back here as they go through 3 and 4. Move Josh Hanner back to the lead. He's getting a push from Seth the Merchant.
24 gets the job done. I mentioned their teammates. Doesn't matter. 24 wants to win the race just equally as much. He drops down to the inside of the racetrack and takes over the lead. Now Seth the Merchant. Seth took the lead from the 24 earlier on, Andy, from jumping out and running second, taking the lead on the outside lane and getting through. We're right back where we started. Does Seth the Merchant do the same thing? In order to do it, though, he needs an outside lane to jump out in front of. Right now, the outside really falling back.
Yeah, the outside's falling way back because Matt Quick cannot get to the back bumper of Josh Ball right now. It's not helping. Now Quick's going to drop to the bottom side. That's going to leave Josh Ball really out to dry all by his lonesome now. The only thing he can do is hopefully get some side draft to kind of maintain some position, or it's going to be way to the back for him. We're going to see where the timing and scoring loop him right now. It looks like it'd be about around that 10th spot right now. So So Josh Ball needs to, it's going to be 9th right now. He needs to get back in that bottom line real quick here. He's going to be close to getting that cutoff.
He is falling back, and with no opening on the inside line in sight, the 48 is going to fall back to at least the 83. That's 14th. That's pretty close to the cut line. Really don't want to play with that. And the 48 machine as a champion in this series, and as a champion at best, as the defending iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series champion. The provisional would most likely go in his favor, but he doesn't want to have to come all the way from the back of the A main. Wants to get in line, and he'll do so in front of Jimmy Todd. He'll stop the bleeding at 17th position, just 2 spots in front of the cut line. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, how about white flag in the air? 2.66 miles to the checkered flag, and with everybody being single file and the momentum being the biggest determining factor on how successful an outside lane is, I don't know if they have enough time to form one.
I don't know if they have enough time to form one, but maybe there's a chance to set the Merchant and the number 9 of Alex Gore can maybe get a run off of turn number 4 with that long straightaway to the stripe here at Talladega, a little bit further down the track than Daytona. It might give them the advantage to get a run off of turn number 4, and here they come for the final time off of turn 4. Does the Merchant have something?
To the apron goes the number 87 behind him, but Seth the Merchant's gonna get it to the inside, and clear he will go. Checkered flag, 3 wide for second. Seth the Merchant is gonna win the B main at Talladega. 3 and 4 wide behind them, and Josh Hanner threw that race away at a quarter number 4. Seth the Merchant, that was a veteran move. Come into this series at the end of season 3, Andy, ran part-time, and these guys were afraid of what would happen when he would run full-time. Got the most wins out of any driver 1 season ago. That's why. He goes to the outside of the racetrack. That's the typical move you see at Talladega. Go to the outside, and they'll side draft side by side to the start-finish line, and that's it. But when he goes to the outside, he brings that 24 up off the yellow line, crosses him over, and it's game over.
Yep, it wouldn't have happened, though, if that 9 car didn't go with him. So a big shout-out to Alex Gore right there to give him the push. I'm sure Seth the Merchant will say something to him after the race. But, yeah, what a move. That's a power move. That's exactly what he needed to do, especially without a high line to work with. So a great job right there by Seth the Merchant. A great crossover move. Set him up with the fake. I'm going outside. No, I'm not. And dives down to the bottom. Makes a power move. Gets a little help for the push down the straightaway, or down the through the tri-oval, and scores a big win while they're 3 wide right behind him.
I'm not sure if we'll be able to hear him because he's burning it down on the front straightaway, but cue it up, Seth the Merchant on the radio, the Wicked Autosport Chevrolet to victory lane in the B main. Seth, am I giving you too much credit, or did you set that 24 up on a platter at a turn 4?
Oh man, I didn't think that was gonna work. I was just gonna go out and see what would happen, and it didn't look like Alex was gonna go with me there. And I saw Josh start to move high, and I just shot low, and I just had just enough room to get under him, and Alex followed me through and pushed me through to the win, so that's good.
Yeah, luckily for all of you guys, it wasn't a finish at Talladega that we see many a time. When you go back to the bottom, he tries to come back down, and it gets really messy from there. That was interesting, though, because you ran behind Josh on the inside of the racetrack early, jumped up top, and made that move. And on the white flag, you know, there was no outside lane for you to make the move the same way. So we knew it was going to be interesting there, but you were working not only with Josh, but as well, Alex helped you out there big at the end as well. What was it like working through that race? Just one caution flag there right in the middle.
It seems with this new surface model that the top worked a lot, especially the longer we'd run. The bottom started getting tight there at the end of that race. So I think if people would have actually used the top, they could have passed us pretty easily, because it was kind of hard to hold the bottom at the end. But I'm pretty glad we made the show. That's what our plan was. I was just working with Hanner in this race, and I just wanted to actually finish. Unlike the Darlington race, so pretty glad we got that.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got the job done, and you win this B main, and you know, a step closer to locking yourself into the iSuper Chase, as you'll be locked into that A main and have a pretty good starting spot for it. Dynamic tracks was a topic of discussion at Darlington earlier tonight in the Rod Car Truck Tour. Tonight, the feature race format for the first time on the year, so we won't really see a long race because the racetrack going to be green for the next race coming up for the A main. But next week we'll be back here at Talladega, going to be an endurance event, so it might be more prominent there. But what did you experience at all with the changing track conditions here, and what would you anticipate for the A main?
I really think after about 10 to 15 laps into the main that you're going to see the top start working really good. About 24 laps in at the end of this, I think the top is the preferred line, honestly, if you can have all the guys just running the bottom in that, because we're going to have a bigger field in the A main, more cars, so it's going to just heat the bottom up even more. So I wouldn't be surprised, maybe not in this race, but maybe in one of the endurance races that's 100 laps, if the third lane could come into effect with the way that the bottom was just starting to die there at the end of that run.
Well, you're one step closer again to getting the overall job done tonight, and you got the best finish you could out of this B main. You win it in 24 laps, so you got to do the same thing now in 47. Seth, before we let you go, anybody want to throw a shout out to?
Just Josh for working with me there in the B main to help me get in, and all the guys at Wicked Autosports. I gotta congratulate Christian on the win in the Darlington race and Anthony on the good third place finish there.
Well, you win the B main, Seth. Again, congratulations. Best of luck in that A main, and hopefully we'll talk to you after that one as well.
All right, thank you, Evan.
And that is your B main race winner, Andy. It is Seth the Merchant who takes this one home, and based on what all these drivers are saying, this could be a very interesting, or rather the A main could be very interesting, but as well, next week could be very, very fun. The outside, we're hearing it is a extremely viable option for these guys.
Well, it's good to hear. That gives these guys options. And whenever you come to a speedway race, options are a good thing. Typically, there's not. Usually the bottom side is the side to be on. If you protect that yellow line, you have the advantage. So if this high side could get to really come into effect, especially in the longer races, like you said, might even see it a little bit in this next heat, seeing that it's just about double the length of this one. But the longer races, like he said, maybe that could come into play, and maybe even, like he said, the top side, the third lane, being that nobody runs on it that much, that maybe that's the side that'll end up winning a race. But the only time will tell when we get to those races.
And it's going to be a clean racetrack for the A main. Drivers getting set to get on that one, so we'll take a quick break and step away on LSRTV. We'll be back for the grid of the A main and the first feature race on the year on this 2015 Season 5 championship, the FDNY 343, the NYPD 23. Never Forget Classic on this September the 11th of 2015. A lot more exciting action to come on LSRTV. You'll want to stay tuned for this one.
I'm Dan Garrison, software engineer at iRacing. Since the beginning of Papyrus and through iRacing, the track has been unchanging through a session. Whatever you have at the beginning is what you have for the duration of the session and the end. The track doesn't change. What we want to do is be able to have the track respond to what's going on, to have cars interact with the track, to have the track change in temperature, in the amount of rubber. We want marbles, and we want those to be generated by the cars, putting them where they should be and picking them up and rethrowing them off the race line. It's a physical-based model that we focus on first and foremost. The tire and the track interaction, what's really going on there. It would be easy to just quickly throw something together. Our standards are, it needs to make sense. What's really going on, even at the molecular level between the track and the tire. The way the track works, essentially, is we divide it up into small cells that your car interacts with. So if you're adding temperature to a certain part of the track, we can pretty accurately know exactly where that is. That gets transmitted to the server. So if I'm in a race, my data is going to the server with everybody else in the session. The server accumulates that and basically broadcasts a consistent track state to everyone, so everyone's got the same track that they're racing on. One of the big challenges was being able to implement this dynamic track with any number of clients connected and have it just work as you would expect. Have it be the same for everyone in the service who's in a session. So to kind of give a little bit of a preview of the state of things right now, I basically have run a number of laps at 5 flags with the effects exaggerated for demonstration purposes so that we can kind of immediately see what's going on with the track. Right here is basically the track at the beginning of the session. There is a little bit of rubber on there that's put programmatically. That's the starting state of this track, and it's fairly low rubber at this point. If we skip ahead to the end, I did about 30 laps, so at the very end, you can kind of see all this darkened in right here. This is where I was running the car, so, well, there you go. And again, this is exaggerated. A single car in 30 laps is not going to darken the track anywhere near this level. We also have the ability to see the temperature, similar to an IR camera. At the beginning of the session, it's a little bit warm down here. It's very cool up here. As we skip ahead, all of a sudden this part of the track has become very warm. This is where I was running the car. And we can also drag the little thumbnail and see the effect of time as the track cools off and returns back to its equilibrium state. Before we had fairly symmetrical tracks. Now, because the sun is shining at some angle, one side of the track might be particularly hot, and 180 degrees around the track is going to be significantly cooler because the sun isn't really pointing at that. So you're on a track where maybe you basically treated it as 2 equal halves. Now you need to adjust to that. With multiple cars over a long race, you're going to have to seek out where's the grip, where is it going, how is the track changing. It's going to require a much more intelligent approach to racing. You're going to have to be able to handle the track through the life of the race. So in addition to temperature and rubber, we're also spending a lot of time working with marbles, putting them on the track where they should be. Later in a race, you can expect there to be marbles offline, and so a pass might be a little more sketchy later in the race because you're going to have to go through part of the track that has accumulated some rubber. On the oval side, if you want to venture out into, say, the outside line and nobody's been there yet, you can expect to find marbles there. I expect that the track becoming dynamic means that during a race, temperature is going to go up significantly and the grip is going to respond negatively. You will want to be anticipating that, seeking out cooler parts of the track, taking a slightly higher line for a while, testing out, is it faster up here? I fully expect it's going to break up the field. Cars are going to be trying new things. You won't be able to just take a qualifying setup and make a tiny change and then be able to run the same laps over and over. It's going to just become a much more dynamic and unpredictable experience. As significant as this first implementation is in creating a dynamic environment, it's really kind of just sets the foundation for even bigger and better things. We'll be able to handle day-night transitions and a moving sun and clouds coming in and have the track respond to that. We can look down the road and say, well, we'll want to do rain and have water on the track and have it move and have it dry according to where the tires are and how much temperature is there and how much is the sun shining. All these things that happen in a real race, we want to model them, and we are well on our way in being able to do something like that. I think it's great as an iRacing member to see this feature come to fruition. This dynamic track is something that really has been kind of discussed for a long time, and to join the team and be able to bring it to the members, myself being one of them, is very exciting. It's going to change the face of race sessions significantly and really improve the experience.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Qualifying just now underway for the A-main portion of tonight's iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series race number 2 of 13 before the iSuper Chase, the FDNY NYPD Never Forget Classic. B-main down, only the main event to go, and this is the one that matters the most. You got hardware as well as a ticket into the championship on the line. Getting a good qualifying run would definitely help your case for sure. These drivers have a 5-minute closed qualifying session, 1 lap at single car runs, going to determine the field for tonight's A-main. I want to welcome you back into the LSRTV broadcast tower alongside myself, Emma Pizzocco, joined by Andy Kessler, and our executive producer is Laura Lawson. Andy, B-main come and gone, a thrilling finish to that one. The A-main's got some tough expectations to stack up against. More cars though, almost twice the amount of laps. Should be fun.
Oh, it should be a blast with a lot riding on it. Winning, you're in, like you just mentioned. So these guys, they're going to be going for it. I think we should see just as much, if not more, excitement, especially towards the end of this one, being a little bit longer than the first one. But nevertheless, this is going to be another exciting one. Tons of cars. All these guys with a chance to win. All of them want to punch your ticket into that chase.
And it looks like Mark Jorgensen Jr. right now the fastest driver in the qualifying session with a 56.49. A tie for second with Josh Ball and Corey Henry with a 50.662. How about a three-way tie? Look at this, Andy. Josh Ball, Corey Henry right now with the second. Three drivers with a 50.662.
Almost four of them there, 6.65 for Josh Hanner. So, yeah, all these guys doing a great job here in qualifying. And obviously, somebody hit something on a setup because they're all running the same.
And those drivers that have completed their laps coming down the pit lane, all these times going to be ever so close. All these drivers with the exact same package under the hood of those race cars, and things yet to be determined. Still some drivers getting their final little bit of laps in, but as the qualifying session gets set to come to a close here, and we get set to get our A main portion of our iSuperSpeedway Car Racing Series festivities underway in this special memorial race with the iSuperSpeedway Car Racing Series. Let's throw things down trackside for the opening ceremonies and the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
A big thank you to Jaden Berkey for the singing of our national anthem, and as well the virtual Thunderbirds for the flyover this afternoon from Talladega. Qualifying to a close, field on the grid. Let's rack them and stack them and let you know where they'll line up for the start of this evening's FDNY NYPD Never Forget 9/11 Classic Memorial event. It is going to be a pole position for Rodney Wofford, the 7 in contention to win the truck race earlier this evening. He's got a good place to start en route to trying to get himself into the iSuper chase for a second year in a row. It'll be a 50.648 that puts the Race Fan Racing Incorporated Chevrolet on the pole, just 1/1000th of a second behind Tim. Mark Jorgensen Jr.'s number 88 car will start in second.
Inside of row number 2 in that 26 will be Rod Flagg, and the 48 of Josh Ball will start 4th.
Corey Henry is going to roll from 5th position into number 12 car. Ray right now with a second will start from 6th.
The 24 of Josh Hanner is going to roll off 7th, while 8th place will be the 94 of Frank Bucciali.
Seth the Merchant starts this race in 9th position. The target car on the inside of row 5. Outside to him and rounding out your top 10, the 98 car, another one of the tribute paint schemes for the 98. That's Greg Hooks.
Starting 11th in the number 2 will be Donnie Giarratana, while Chris Passini in the 1 car will start 12th.
Dana Osborne's number 8 will roll from 13th, and 14th is the 6 of Jeff Figlin.
15th will be the 79 of Anthony Ankello, while 16th outside of row number 8 is the number 9, Alex Gore.
Rod Mitten will start from 17th position. Brandon Chiburko back in the pack more than he would like, so is in 18th.
The 28 of Shane McEachin will start 19th, while 20th will be Glenn Hedrick.
Tony Fenn's number 78, AC Delco Chevrolet in 21st position. 22nd to the 11 car, that's the Forces.ca Chevrolet of Kelly Dahl.
Ramon Evans will start 23rd, while Daniel Ferguson in the 25 starts 24th.
Ryan Pylan's number 41 Haas Automation Ford Fusion in 25th and 26th in the 4 car of Tommy Hall.
The 088 of Ken Connolly will start 27th, and 28th will be the 82 of Dan Harrington.
Jimmy Todd sits 29th and 30th. Matt Quick, Ryan Keese slated to start 31st. The 10 car going to start this race from pit road and not with the pack. The American Childhood Cancer Organization pace car through the grass, takes out the cone, got the job done though. It's down on the pit lane, and we get set to get this one underway. We're glad to have you with us on LSRTV. First A-main race on the year. Green flag flies, underway we go for the FDNY NYPD Never Forget Classic, and Wofford not even with the advantage at the start-finish line. Jorgensen leads the outside, trouble back in the pack, big wreck already. Trouble with the 25, Daniel Ferguson turned around, and he's not the only one with trouble. The caution flag is out, and we're hearing it was with Ramon Evans. The 83 car had a misshift getting up through the gears, and that car just spun around on him, Andy. So it looks like going from second to third, instead of going to third gear, may have downshifted back to first. That race car, not some fun sounds out of the transmission, spins up track, takes out a couple of other cars, the Ford, the 25, as well the 82 with Dan Harrington involved.
Maybe some nervous race jitters for the beginning of this thing, meaning that this race just has a lot going for it, a lot meaning for every position here. Obviously racing for points for the championship, but also racing to get your butt into this chase, and unfortunate mistake right there, and it'll cost him, it'll cost a couple other guys too, unfortunately, at the wrong place at the wrong time.
So those drivers going to come down pit road that are going to get their one quick fix, and then you're really at the risk of the elements of this race. From there on out, any damage from this point for those 3 drivers who got the brunt of that impact now have to try to get any more further damages repaired, and basically you get another wreck, you're done at Talladega. We always say that the draft is a great equalizer and that you don't need a perfect race car to win, but the speeds these guys are running and how aerodynamically sensitive they are, especially if you want to be doing something on the outside of the racetrack, you get another wreck, you're pretty much done. Mark Jorgensen Jr., though, is the race leader at the start-finish line, so the 88 is going to be leading this race. The nationwide pride car on board, the special American paint scheme on board the 88 machine leads this race. In front of them, Ryan Keese going to get the wave by. He as well has one of those patriotic memorial paint schemes on board. He started from pit road. That's typically because you don't want to be anywhere near anything. He'll get a wave by. He'll be at the very back of the lead lap for this next restart, but I don't think anybody lost their engine, so we should still have all 31 drivers on the lead lap when we go back green.
We'll pretend that start didn't happen. We'll get these guys lined up. We'll get to redo it here early on. Obviously, some guys on pit road getting some damage fixed, but maybe that got all the jitters, the nervous jitters out for everybody. I'm not sure, but we'll see when this thing gets back going green. But man, you hate to see that early on. But these guys are professional. They'll get it all figured out, and I'm sure nobody's going to be missing a shift on this restart.
And we call it, again, big track racing, short track style. The caution flags, though, do count against the lap total in the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series, contrary to what you might see at your local short track. So this will knock this down from, again, we'll call it a fresh restart, but it'll be about a 43-lap race now at this point. No major position shuffling. If you were really going somewhere in the 15 seconds, you probably got black flagged for jumping the restart. A couple of drivers shuffling around those positions in which the cars that were involved in the incident were running right near them. Looks like Tommy Hall will fall 1 lap down, so the Aircon Warehouse Incorporated Chevrolet Looks like he had to take the virtual tow to pit road. That's the reason why he's down there. He's serving about a 3-minute or so time penalty for the virtual tow truck to drop him off, get fixed, and hopefully for him that he sees another quick caution because he's in a lucky dog position.
He is the all-dreadful tow truck. Nobody likes that in iRacing. The funny thing is you never know how much time it's going to give you. You know, I've been close to pit road and still got a 2-minute tow, so you never know what it's going to give you here at iRacing, and especially on a big track. If you're like these guys were just past the start-finish line, I'm sure the tow was quite long. So, yeah, you definitely don't want to. The only good part for him, I guess, is we're not at Richmond, and the laps don't go by that quick while you're under green, so the opportunity to lose too many laps won't happen being at a track like this, and the fact that most guys stay on the lead lap gives them a good opportunity to get back on the lead lap.
So he'll burn out of pit road, get back out there on the racetrack, but not before falling 2 laps down, so he'll have to get 2 laps back, and he's inquiring with race control to see if he can get one of those back, at least at this point in the race, but he'll be again at the back anyway. So big key for him is, as he does get one wave by, is that you need to stick with the draft. We were talking about in the B main, the top 16 were in the lead draft. Other guys were intentionally about 1.5 seconds, 2.5 seconds back, Andy, playing it easy in their own little pack to the point where they, again, didn't lose connection with the race leaders, but they weren't there in the fray. Well, some of those guys weren't necessarily back there by design. Although the draft is good, if you're the last car in a pack, it is difficult to stay on them. So for that 4 of Tommy Hall, you can't fall off too much, because if we get a good amount of green flag laps in, you might get lapped again if you're not with a pack.
Yeah, being the last car, it's really, really difficult because you find yourself really a lot running half throttle, especially through the corners, because you don't want to run into the guy in front of you. You can't bump draft. So without anybody behind you kind of pushing you, it is tough. You really got to time it right and almost never let off, and kind of maybe duck out to the side just a little bit. Get out of line, keep your momentum going, drop back down when you can. But yeah, being last in the pack, nobody wants to be there. Obviously, somebody has to be there. So it's definitely a challenge to maintain the grasp on the draft. And if you can't, it can make for a long night.
So Hall's going to catch up to the back of the pack this time by. Lights on the pace car will go off, and we get set for our restart. Talking about some of the rules here in the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series. 3 drop weeks in the 13-race regular season. So after tonight, 11 races to go in the regular season. The top 10 drivers are going to go to the chase. You win, you're locked into the chase. If we do have less than 10 race winners, then the remaining spots inside the top 10 qualifying positions will be determined based on points. So not only is winning important, but as well having some consistent runs to fall back on, not going to hurt anybody as well. Caution's evidently on. It's a fixed setup championship. Realistic weather, 1 quick repair, no lucky dog, random wave rounds. We've seen that because Tommy Hall has been able to get back around to 1 lap to the negative at a 70% fuel cell, just to keep a note of, as far as, you know, what these guys are working with on a fuel-wise. May not be able to make it all 47 laps start to finish in this one. The I-5 bonus in effect again tonight for the first time since the iSuperSpeedway 500. If you're not familiar with what that is on Friday nights, if a top 5 finisher from the previous race goes home to win it, he'll get $5. And if nobody claims that, that $5 is going to be added on every single week. With the last person to win the I-5 bonus, Josh Ball, won $65 in a number 48 car back on the 19th earlier in this year, about 2-3 months ago. So $40 up for grabs if Brandon Chaburko, Rodney Watford, Rod Flaggett, Ryan Pyland, or Jason Oatmans can win this race. You can tell those drivers by the orange number they'll have on the side of the race car. Pace car going to dive down to the inside yet again. This time, field going to be controlled by Mark Jorgensen Jr. The 88 will lead us through the tri-oval side by side with Watford. He wants to push from Josh Ball. They're looking for the green.
There it is, green flag back in the air, and we saw Jorgensen actually take the lead away from Wofford on the outside lane. So maybe Wofford have the advantage this time, as he's got Rod Flag right behind him, with Josh Ball actually going to get right on the back bumper. That 88 car, give him the push. That's going to clear the top 2 guys now from that third place machine, make it almost a fourth place machine now. The 7 of Rodney Wofford, he's actually going to have to get some work done right now, as we almost got 3 wide just behind him as a 24 of Hanner looks to go to the inside. Not going to make it happen. They're going to stay double file, but they're 3 wide behind him as the 2 car is stuck on the outside right now. That's Donnie Giordano.
Giratano up top, all of that around the 32 of Seth the Merchant. Talked to him earlier tonight. B main race winner, said the outside may even be the place to be. About 15 laps into this race, really getting our first green flag laps in now. We'll have to see how true that statement holds up. He so far has fallen 4th spots from 9th. The Merchant sits 13th right now on track. The outside loses a couple of cars, and much like we saw in the B main, 4 cars, and the exact gap that they'll fall back. The 88, the 48, the 12, and the 94 clear. Looks like the 98 of Greg Hook's 5th car down low as well, going to get clear of the inside. Trying to as well, Chris Massini, but the inside a major advantage down to turn 3.
Inside, they had the advantage. Now here comes the 7 car, Rodney Wofford with a push from Mr. Rod Flagg right now, but right now, somebody dropped down behind them, and now the top line's not going anywhere. There's only 2 cars trying to make that outside line work. Not going to happen right now as they're falling back almost a 10th now as they start to get some help. That looks like the 29, could be the 79. Yeah, the 79 right now of Anthony Ankello. He's got some help from the 24 of Hanner. They're trying to make that outside line work right now. Not going to happen. Those are top 6 guys or single file.
And the outside is not going to be 5 car lengths back for this entire race. They'll get there. They just need some momentum, and having 4 now 5 cars as the 24 and the 32 going to tag along at the back of them right now. The Merchant, last car in line up top, scored 14th. They're going to get some speed, and now you see the guys down low. You recognize the outside's coming. Chris Massini going to drop out of a comfortable P6 to the outside, and now lead the outside charge and looking to challenge for the race lead. Good push from the 7, going to get him up to 3rd.
It is going to get him up for 3rd. Side by side right now with the 12 of Corey Henry. Corey Henry trying to make some. Here comes Josh Ball now. He's going to come to the outside. He's going to get a huge bump right there from Piscini. Now it's going to put the lead side by side. It's the 88 and the 48 heading into 3.
Side by side for the race lead. Josh Ball outside of the racetrack trying to get that car in victory lane. Side by side with the 88 and the 12. The inside pulls the better of him on the inside down of 3 and 4. And on the outside of the corner, the outside, those cars much more tightly condensed than the cars down low. There's a big gap between Frank Lucilia and a 98 of Greg Hooks down low. The outside, they were all over each other that time in 3 and 4. And that's what you have to do because you can't lock up bumpers with somebody and push them. You just need a lot of cars very close together, not a lot of space to allow not a whole lot of air interruption on the draft of those cars, and you'll be able to get something going. Inside, though, again, always so pesky in the middle of the corner, not giving it up easily without a fight, is Mark Jorgensen Jr.
Yeah, like we talked about, we'll see if it plays out. Seth the Merchant talked about that high line coming into effect. We talked about it a minute ago. We'll see as these laps start to click on by if that holds true here in the later going of the race with this new dynamic track. So right now, Mark Jorgensen Jr. doing what he has to do, protecting that bottom side, protecting that yellow line, and so far it's working for him. But here comes that high line, still side by side now for the lead. That is Josh Ball on the outside. He's got help from the
I mentioned the gap between Frank Lucilia and the car behind him, the number 98 of Greg Cooks. That gap has grown. This will put a big advantage on the outside. Josh Ball, big run. He's got it. Does he bring the 1 car, Chris Piscini, with him? Not enough room for the 1 to come down. Josh Ball, to be fair, he waited and tried to allow Chris Piscini to get clear. Once he saw the 1 car wasn't able to do it, he drops down low, and he's your new race leader.
He's your new race leader, but not for long. Piscini now just got a huge bump from the 7 of Rodney Wofford. That's not going to get done except for a side-by-side battle now heading back into turn number 1. The 88 now, Mark Jorgensen, he's given a huge push to Josh Ball. That's going to clear the front 2, it looks like, maybe, as they exit turn number 2. Now, here comes the 88. He just really shoved his way up there. I don't even think he had enough room right there. Piscini almost got in the rear end of him. Now they're side-by-side for the lead.
I always like to say he jumps up and takes the Chevrolet SS decal off the front of the car, making room nonetheless. to the outside of the racetrack, trying to do what Seth the Merchant did 2 times to go on to win the B main, and that is jump out from second, try to get the race lead. Not able to do it immediately. Doing it where he didn't allow him to get the biggest of runs. The one car going to get to the back bumper of him and push him. As Chris Bassini, you don't want to help Mark Jorgensen Jr. and you don't want to push him. You want to go around him because you feel like, okay, I pushed the 48 to the lead. Now it's somebody's turn to push me. But we saw twice earlier tonight in the B main, if you go 3 wide, no one's going to follow you up there.
No, absolutely not. No one's going to follow. They don't want to take the chance. As we're looking almost 3 wide right behind these guys, that's for a 6th place battle right now. It's going to settle things down now. Still remain side by side here. That was the number 7 on the outside, the number 8 of Dana Osborne, who said he didn't have much speed there. Started 15th, but now he's worked his way up inside this top 10 right now. Is the top side now, led by the 88 of Jorgensen. They're going to fall all the way back to 5th right now. So the lowest the 88's been all night is right now here on lap number 14.
And as the outside lane dies off through the trial vote, a move to the outside from the 12 of Corey Henry. Frank Buscaglia could be the deciding factor. He jumps up to help him. That's going to suck the 88 of Jorgensen Jr. back up. And goodbye, Corey Henry. Big run down the back straightaway. He'll get clear. The 94 will get clear. And they expect them to drop down into 1. They do. Jorgensen trying, not able to get down in front of his Hendrick Motorsports teammate, the 48 car. And new race leader goes to Corey Henry. Frank Buscaglia, first time we've seen that Ford Fusion on track all night so far on LSRTV, goes up to 2nd.
And Buscaglia did a nice job there, getting both those guys coming 2nd and 3rd, just kind of jumping out and really getting the run. Took all the momentum away from Josh Balls. These guys coming on lap traffic now. Lap traffic's going to stay way high. That's the 41 car, I believe. Yep, the 41. He's going to go a lap down. That's Ryan Peelan. So he's having some issues right now. Lap down, loses the draft. So he's going to be the first car eligible for that lucky dog if we have a caution right now. But here comes the 48 and the 88 trying to make that outside line work. Josh Ball on the outside trying to take it back away from Corey Henry. Corey Henry been strong all night, showing his muscle in both races so far tonight. First the trucks and then the second one in the B main.
And definitely, I was talking about how that 88 machine, the 48, they couldn't get with each other on the bottom. Kind of had that sneaking suspicion that they'd try to do something. The 48 goes to the top, and that's why you see those Hendrick cars on the outside of the racetrack, though. Corey Henry spoiling the party with them. The AMD Chevy was cleared down low and then opted to jump back up to the outside of the racetrack, maybe trying to help those guys, maybe trying to slow those guys down. Nonetheless, what it's done is it's allowed Frank Buscaglia get to his inside. That's the battle for the race lead in 3.
It is Buscaglia now to the bottom side. He's going to get some help from him right now. Look at his freight train on the bottom side. Those guys really nose to tail right now. That's a 98 car. We haven't talked much about him at all tonight. That's Greg Hooks. He's got him cleared now. So Corey Henry, I'm not sure, like you said, I don't know if he went out to help those guys or block them or slow down their momentum, but it definitely didn't work to his advantage at the moment right now as he sits side by side with the 98 of Greg Hooks. And right now, only the leader has got him clear, but here comes that high side now. Josh Ball all over the place.
Oh, contact, there we go! Josh Ball hard into the outside wall. Caution flag will fly. That car comes to a rest on all 4s. And the victims are he and his Hendrick Motorsports teammate of Mark Jorgensen Jr. Caution flag will fly 1/3 of the way through this evening's Never Forget Classic. And not the first time we had seen the 48 car do this. Kind of slide a little bit high and then try to cross the 12 over. Didn't necessarily have the spot, Andy, when the 12 came down, but the 12 for sure came down and there was contact, and I think that contact slowed the 48 down enough so when he tried to come back in line, he got turned by his teammate, and those 2 cars take a heavy hit as you take a look at the replay.
Yeah, just once that car starts getting out of shape, that's the end of it. We talk about it all the time. Just how light these cars act when they're going this fast through the air. And Josh Ball having some unfortunate luck right there. Just they ran out of racing room, kind of backed out. They made contact, kind of backed out of it. The problem was the car was already not under control at that point. The 88 comes into the picture. Unfortunately, right there, 2 teammates take each other out early on.
And with that, we get 1/3 of the way through the A-main action from tonight's FDNY 343 NYPD 23 Never Forget Classic. We'll step away for a moment and we'll be back for the drop of the green flag from Talladega Superspeedway. You're watching LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Did you know that Lion's sense of vision is so powerful, it actually enables nearby creatures to see better? Here we see lions assisting the offspring of others, while their parents are elsewhere in the wild. Brilliant, isn't it? Making the wild kingdom look much better indeed. Do good, be a lion.
In the outside, contact made. 56 slides it at a 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even. Give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy. It's been a very long off-season. Teams have changed, sponsors have changed, colors and all, but one thing that hasn't, they like to mash the loud pedal. Green flag is out on the 2015 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series season.
iRacing is the ideal platform for these broadcasts because we have the best racers, the best online racers in the world, and we have such a variety of racing, from NASCAR to Grand Prix style racing, sports car, endurance racing. We do it all.
Since 2010, the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series has been the absolute pinnacle of road racing in a simulated form. Great start then by Yakoda from the front. They're packing up behind number one. They're going to be 4 wide as they come down into turn number 1 for the first time. Will they make it through that first corner? You can see them funneling through.
Back live at the virtual Talladega Superspeedway, Frank Busilia III in a top spot right now, working under the caution flag. Second time tonight under the yellow. We're going to cross over lap number 20. Going to go into the books this next time by after the McDonald's drive-through in number 94 Ford Fusion. Started in 8th up to 1st already. Talking about fuel as part of what could be a major strategy factor in this race. While all the drivers came down pit road for the most part last time and topped off, so most everybody should be good to go to the end in this one now.
Yeah, they should be. That takes the fuel mileage out of the game. Now it's just pure talent, pure racing ability, and the ability to dodge the big one if it happens.
We've already seen a couple of incidents so far tonight. One right off of the drop of a green flag, and then a second incident. Josh Ball involved in that second one Looked like for a moment that he didn't have any quick fixes left. Luckily he did. That's something relatively new to the iRacing service. Not as new as these dynamic tracks and such, but a big topic of conversation, and it used to be, is that race car gets damaged, but you get very, very minor damage in your 5 laps in at Talladega. You don't want to pit because you can race with that damage. You'll get the quick fix if you get a yellow with 5 laps to go, but you don't want to get the car fixed for a minor damage and an absolutely junky race car not going to quick fix. You used to not have a say in that. Now you do. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a couple of guys out there that have pitted, they've gotten fuel, but the car's still a little scuffed up because they want that quick fix if they can hang on to it to the end. But now many drivers don't have that advantage anymore. They've already used it.
Yeah, you always hate to use it early. It doesn't matter what track you're at, because you want to be there at the end. I mean, that's what it's all about, being there at the end, getting a chance to win. So a lot of guys, if you can maintain your speed and keep in the draft, most of those cars with a little bit of damage, behind another car, they're fine. If they were out in front, that'd be a whole different story. So as long as they're behind them, save it to the end and see what happens.
Field rolls at a quarter number 4, double file getting set for a restart. Second time this race off of a caution flag. The Bright and Gold American Childhood Cancer Organization pace car again erratically dives to the safety of pit road. Gusilia in control on the bottom of the racetrack. Bottom hasn't necessarily been the safest place to be. We'll see again. Green flag flies back and away we go, and the outside with the nose at the line.
Yeah, the outside's Greg Hooks. He's got help from Bassini now in the 1 car. So those 2 guys trying to make it happen on the outside lane. Not going to happen currently, as the bottom side still hanging tough off of turn 2.
The bottom side is there, the outside is there, but typically 1 or 2 laps after a restart, what you'll see is everybody wants to get down low. This track has had an opportunity to get rubbered in a little bit. How many guys stay up top? The more stay up there, sure, it seems like a bigger risk, but the better chance you have of that outside actually paying off. Doesn't look like that's going to be the name of the game, though, on this one. Just 4 drivers, and now 3 in that first real bundle of cars up top. The 98 is followed by the 1. They're pushed as well by the 8. The 8 of Dana Osborne going to drop down to the inside to the safety of the inside lane on the racetrack. Opposite of a freeway, the left lane here on the bottom is just the riding lane. The passing lane's up top. So if you're a guy like Seth the Merchant and Greg Cooks, the 32 of the 98 down low, right now you can go up top and make a move. But for the most part, the outside lane's going to be there, maybe about 3 car lengths off the top. So guys 5th, 6th, and 7th, Andy down low, they really can't do all that more much than just ride in line and hope something happens for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's all it is. Just hold your line, concentrate on what you're doing, stay within your lines, and you should be all right. But yeah, once you get those guys start to fall back, you're pretty boxed out. There's no way around it. There's no way under because of the yellow line, and there's no way above because of the cars ahead. So tough call for those guys. They just have to sit there and ride it out and wait for their turn. But right now it looks like the top 10 or so are now single file. Nobody's trying to make that high line work, at least not for now.
Everybody's single file till you get back to the 2 car. The first car up top, Donnie Giratano, 13th position, is on the outside of the racetrack. He's got help with the 26, and all of a sudden, half the guys down low to the top side. Look at that, just outside of the top 7 to the outside of the racetrack goes Glenn Hedrick from 9th. He brings the 98, the 1 as well, the 6th car of Jeff Figlin. Thinking about it, all it takes is 1 car to get everybody inspired and hop up there, but the only issue is that nobody wants to be that first car, and that's why you see such hesitation. Look at the 21 of Hedrick. 6th car jumps up to join the top lane. At the bottom of the racetrack goes Glenn Hedrick. He'll jump back up in front of the 6th. That's one way to make a pass.
Well, it's an aggressive way to make a pass here at Talladega. Great job right there. Great piece of driving by Glenn Hedrick. Gets that job done as the top side's still having trouble. Try to keep back, and you look back at this pack here, led by the 8, now by the 21. Nope, 21's going to go back down. So led by the 6, I should say. Sorry, Jeff Figlin. You look back there, it's a lot of heavy hitters there. A lot of guys that were up front in that B main. A lot of guys that we've seen up front last week at the 500. So a lot of big time guys just kind of hanging out in the back right now. And strategy wise, you kind of gotta wonder if that's going to work, or wonder if it's even worth a shot. But with this many laps to go, might as well give it a shot and stay back there. Try to avoid that wreck that we just had, and maybe hopefully pull something out here at the end. You know these guys are fast enough back there, and they're trying to make it happen, but that high line still just got stuck there outside that top 5.
The 21 thought about it again. It's not going to work this time. Glenn Hedrick around on the back straightaway. He'll nail Kelly Dahl and hard into the inside wall. Goes the Canadian Armed Forces Chevrolet. No caution as all of that happening down on the apron. Now Hedrick again contacted 3 and 4, trying to hang on to that car. And a second time they hold their breath and they stay green in this race. But Hedrick thought about making a move to the middle again. Andy went down low. The 8 car didn't move at all. Just the 21 figure wasn't enough room. Came up, got into the number 98, and he spun down and cross-checked Kelly Dahl out of line. Nobody else severely involved, excluding Hedrick, who has heavy engine damage.
Yeah, some heavy damage for some guys right there. I'm surprised the caution didn't come out, but he was way off the track, way down below in the line as the replay goes up on the line, on the screen right now as you see it. But another one. You think you have the room, you think you have them cleared. It closes quickly. These holes close quickly, and it doesn't take much. Another car around, a couple cars into the wall, more damage, and a couple guys wishing that they had different luck here tonight.
And a lot of the drivers wondering why there was no caution flag for that, because a lot of guys towards the back of the pack checked up, and that's why you see such a divide. The top 12 within a second of each other, 13th on back, over 2 seconds off. Typically you'll get a caution if you have a 3-car or more incident, and although there were 2 incidents, both of them really only involved 1 car, so the racetrack stays green. After all of the incidents happen down in the apron, racing continues. The battle up front still sits in favor of Frank Busilia. The 1 car up on the outside of the racetrack, Chris Massini leads the outside charge to 24 to Josh Hanner there. Here comes Seth the Merchant. Started this race 19th. He won the B main. Nobody's gone on to win the B main and the A main ever in one night. The 32 wants to do it. How about second that time by?
Second that time by, and he's looking for more. He's got Passini now giving him a good push. High side now starting to really form a good line right now is the 24 of Hanner. The 98, of Greg Hooks. They're all there. Rod Flagg, Chaburko. We haven't talked about Chaburko at all. Here he is now finally in the top 10. That 32 car really looking for that lead in turn number 1. Looks like he might have him cleared. Not quite here as they continue through the corner off turn 4. It's going to be a drag race to the stripe. Who's going to have it, Busilia or Merchant?
If this was the checker, it would be Busilia on the inside of the racetrack, not getting the job done. And DeMerchant won the B main by a move to the inside. This time gets to the race lead up top. He'll hold it up. The 1 car gets clear, now jumps down in line, and Seth the Merchant and Chris Passini now both go 1-2. They drop down to the inside of the racetrack. That kills the outside a little bit because they go from 6 drivers to 4 up top. That takes away a third of your horsepower. Josh Hanner, the 24, who leads the outside charge, drops back a little bit, gets reacquainted with the 98. Big run down to 3. He'll stall out into the corner, but that DuPont Chevrolet showing that he's not at all ready to give up on this one.
No, he isn't. Up front early, went to the back. Now here we are with about 17 laps this time by to go, and he's up front now looking to make some noise, trying to get that win. He's got a lot of help from Greg Hooks right now, right up in his back bumper, trying to get that third position. It looks like he did just barely over the start-finish line right there, but that outside line still trying to make it work. I haven't really noticed the track really rubbering up too much here as we get later in the run. The field now approaches lap traffic as they head back into turn number 3. DeMerchant, though, still with the lead as here comes the 24 now in 3.
And that's Kelly Dahl going a lap down, not happy about the lack of a caution flag, because that'll mean 2 laps in a negative for the 11. Glenn Hedrick in a wave around position for being the lucky dog. Things not going at all the way Kelly Dahl would have liked, as he sits now in 31st spot, but after starting in 22nd, number 11 machine, things have gone downhill very quickly. So have things gone downhill for Josh Hanner, just up there for the race lead. And again, next thing you know, he's back 3 car lengths. He'll be back up there in 1-2 laps, and then he'll fall back a couple of laps after that. The system is cruel on the outside. Need help? Look at that, 3 cars to the outside. Seth the Merchant got absolutely abandoned down the back straightaway. Piscini falls well. Seth the Merchant trying to get, like, he's not going to be able to do it. So Piscini, Frank Busilia, and the 12 of Corey Henry all get by the Merchant.
That they did. A great move by those guys on the outside. They really left him out to dry, the 32 of the Merchant. Now, the Merchant, he's got to find himself in the battle for that 4th spot with the 24. A Hanner right on his outside bumper. Right now, he's got him clear. And the front runner, though, is Piscini. Doing a heck of a job, the rookie here, doing what he needs to do to be up front currently right now, as the field really starting to try to get that top side going. The 28 of 28 of Shane Machicha, he jumps to the outside now. He's going to try to help these guys and get up to the front.
Well, it looks like deja vu for Seth the Merchant. Took the lead, dropped back. He had to take the lead on the last lap in the B-main to win it. He took the lead. He's lost it. Now the cards are on his table as he sits 4th right now. The outside, though, just not working enough. Josh Hanner going to go down to the inside of the racetrack. 28 now leads the outside charge. Shane McEachin, the lone driver, up trying to make the outside of the racetrack operate. How about Brandon Chiburko? Slowly but surely, the 3 car started from 18th. He's up to 9th and wants to join the party.
Wants to join the party, but he hasn't really made any aggressive moves here to either follow somebody on the outside or try to make a pass. But him and it looks like Rod Flagg are just kind of lurking there in the shadows, waiting to make their run. And I wouldn't be surprised here when you start seeing this thing wind down to about 4 or 5 laps left, if you see those 2 guys really jump out and take charge. But looks like Seth the Merchant actually just got pushed out of the way here. Tough break for him. He's going to fall and lose about 5, 6, 7 car lengths or positions now as he drops down to the inside right in front of Chiburko. Chiburko had to go to the outside, but now your top guys, your top 10, so single file now heading back into 1.
Seth the Merchant went to the outside of the racetrack and then got hit by the 12 of Corey Henry, who had to walk that car up the hill a little bit, trying to keep it under control. Comes up, hits the Merchant. The 32 has to settle with 8th. After all of that, that's a long way to make up, especially when you get to the end of these races. It's funny, we'll see 3, 4 wide action, but they single file out at the end, Andy. And again, because nobody wants to be the first person to do something, it's a high-speed game of chicken now inside the top 5.
Yeah, because they don't want to be in the lead. They want to get that guy to get that run off the corner and maybe take that position away. So everybody trying to fight hard for these positions right now, and these guys are starting to fall back now. DeMerchant, I don't know, he's able to get Chiburko and Rod Flagg right now, so they're going to be able to get back up to this group here, but nobody just really right now wanting to make the high side work, except for now the 28. He's going to move his way up to the outside. Machicha, and he's going to try to get it done, but nobody's behind him, no help. He's going to fall back into line. All these guys right now just trying to ride this thing out here as we're closing in on the end.
Closing in on the end, and now 2/3 of the way through the FDNY NYPD Never Forget Classic from Talladega. Race 2 on the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series Season 5 schedule. 2-3 wide, back in the pack inside of this lead group of race cars, but it is Chris Piscini who wants to get a ticket into the iSuper Chase. We'll step away for one brief moment, and we'll go LSRTV non-stop. Closing in on 10 to go from Talladega.
It's been a very long offseason. Teams have changed, sponsors have changed, colors and all, but one thing that hasn't, they like to mash the loud pedal. Green flag is out on the 2015 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series season.
iRacing is the ideal platform for these broadcasts because we have the best racers, the best online racers in the world, and we have such a variety of racing from NASCAR.
straight. 56 slides it at a 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
We're back live at, as you saw, on the LSRTV nonstop. Trouble down in quarter number 2. Very interested. Rack the 6 of Jeff Figland on the back bumper of Dan Harrington. Dan Harrington gets sideways, and as the back of that race car comes back around to save it, it sends the 6 car for a spin. Jeff Figland down across the nose and damages the front of Josh Ball's Chevrolet. Spins down to the inside, and that car comes back up track and nearly gets nailed by Matt Quick. Quick makes evasive action. Figland ends up in the outside wall on the racing surface. Triggers a caution flag, and we slow things down yet again, just like we saw inside of the B main, just inside of the final 10 laps to go in this race. Your race leader is still the one of Chris Bassini. He is working behind the pace car on lap 40 of 47, but the names behind him, big ones at that. But Frank Busilia, okay, defending series champion in this. He was the inaugural series winner in season 1. Brandon Chaburko, Rod Flagg, Josh Ball, the other 3 drivers in order up to most recent that have won a championship. But besides Frank Busilia, you got Greg Hooks, who's a runner-up before in season 3. You got Hanner, DeMerchant, Chaburko, McEachin, and Flagg. Those are 5 big names outside of the top 5. But 3, maybe underdog names you could consider right now inside the top 5. Chris Bassini, Corey Henry, and Anthony Yancallo can take this second race on the year and get into the chase over some of these big names. They might not be able to do so on point, so they really got to take advantage of this opportunity.
Oh, you have to. Any chance you got to get a win, you got to make it happen. You got to try to, figure a way to get it done. Get that win, get yourself back into that chase, and what better place to do it than Talladega? Stiff competition, though. You got a lot of guys, a lot of veteran guys here that know how to get it done. We saw that in the B main with the power move by Seth the Merchant to kind of fake high and go low, and a lot of guys that know how to do that kind of stuff here. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of time on these tracks to get it done, to figure out the wind, and a lot of these guys, they know how to do it, and we'll see how they can get it done here. Is Bassini, I think he's got his work cut out for him, being a rookie.
And with the wave buys going to Jeff Figland and Jimmy Todd, all 31 cars that started this race are still on the lead lap, and they're all going to be doubled up row by row by row, 16 rows deep for the restart. That means that if we do see another incident, and the big one still yet to happen here, it can really be big with that high number of cars out there on the racetrack. Chris Bassini, I can guarantee you what the one is going to do is just hold the bottom line of the racetrack. Can the number 1 come from 27th in practice to a 12th place spot on the grid and win this race? He's trying to do so right now. He's got a series champion to his outside, Corey Henry. Greg Hooks back on row number 2. Field rounds at a quarter number 4 for what could be the final restart in tonight's race for the FDNY NYPD Never Forget Classic. Pace car down to the safety of pit road. Bassini is going to control this one. One last scuff of the tires. This time by 6 laps to go at Talladega. Green flag flies, back underway we go. If we don't get a caution in 1 or 2 laps and we get one after that, this race would end under yellow. Pressure's on everybody but the one. Chris Bassini's got the spot right now.
Yeah, and they're 3 wide deeper in the pack right now. It looks like I'm keeping an eye on everybody, able to sort things out right now. Big battle for the lead, though. The 94 of Frank Busilia. He's trying to get that high side working. He's got some help. The 98, the 24, Chaburko now. He's trying to give him some help. As Seth the Merchant actually gets shuffled back now as they're going to try to go 3 wide through the corner. DeMerchant, he's in the middle. He's got help from Josh Ball.
Yeah, Seth got checked up, trying to go 3 wide, hit the right rear of the 79 of Anthony Ancalo and lost about 6 spots down the back straightaway, but has help with a fast race car. But can he make up for that time lost now with just very minimal laps to go? Hidani Ford of Frank Musilia, new race leader in the Ford Fusion, gets down in front of Chris Bassini. A clutch move by a series veteran down into quarters number 3 and 4 to take over the race lead. And now Chris Bassini has to set him up. He's got to either look for the 12 to go with him, or he's got to jump up in front of the outside when they get a run. It is all about timing, but now at this point, anything can happen. And this time by, when we take lap number 44, that'll be 4 laps to go. A caution would end it. So much like we saw in the B-Main, Andy, where the pass for the race win was out of the final corner, and much like you'd see in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, the guy in second, he might rather much wait until the final corner to make it. Here you can't really afford to do that because you beat yourself up if you sat there and waited for it and then a caution prevented you from even doing anything.
Yeah, that's the worst part right there, is hoping that you don't get a caution to end this race right now. But Bassini, he's got to make a move. Does he wait to the end? Does he wait? We're gonna have 3 laps to go here, to decide this thing. It almost looks like Basilia kind of giving that high side, then he's going back down to the low side. Is now the 12 of Corey Henry trying to make it happen. The 24 of Hanner, he's going to jump out of line and try to help him, try to get something going on that high side as we close these laps down, coming to 3 to go this time by.
And if you hear the Jaws music playing, that's because here comes Brandon Chiburko, another series champion, up to the front of the field. And the Goodwrench Chevrolet was not able to compete and not able to attempt to defend a championship, was not able to do the iSuper Chase 1 season ago, serving a suspension. We referred to it as Star Mazda testing, came back with an exclamation point late in Season 4. Season 5 may be his year. The 1 car to the outside, Chiburko to second, and 2 defending series champions are 1-2.
Yeah, they're 1-2 right now in the 88. A pretty good driver himself, Mark Jorgensen, all over their back bumper. The top 3 now trying to separate themselves. Battle side by side for 4th. Bassini's on the outside. That's Rod Flagg now on the inside. We haven't talked much about him. Now he finds himself up here in the top 5 with a chance to win this thing. He's getting help from
trouble at the back of the pack. Frank Musilia to the start-finish line. Chiburko to the outside, tries to get the job done. They know there's trouble behind him, so they went for it. No caution, though. 2 laps to go, and now Chiburko finds himself out of line. Chiburko saw the trouble ending. He went to the high side. Problem is, no yellow. He loses his spot in line. We were talking about on the restart that it was a bunch of, not rookie drivers, but some of the more sleeper drivers, some of the dark horses dominating this race. All of a sudden, it's all of the veterans up front. You got Musilia, Chiburko, Jorgensen, Flagg, and company. The 8 car now slow in the middle of 3 and 4, dropping back 3 wide. They'll split. Dana Osborne looking for the white.
They're splitting them. They're giving them way too much room there, just trying to hope to avoid any type of wreck now. As here comes Chiburko on the outside. He's trying to get Bassini on his back bumper to give him a push right now. Like we said, you don't have to clear him to get the win. You just have to get a nose in front of him as we're on the white flag lap now, coming off of turn 2, down the back straightaway. Here comes the 3 car. Chiburko trying to get it done. He's got to run now, getting a little side draft down the super stretch. Here they come, going into turn number 3 for the final time.
Chiburko on the outside. Chris Bassini, his support. 2 cars. Not going to beat 7+ down low. Same situation as the B-Main. Musilia leads. Mark Jorgensen Jr. wants the race win. Contacted. Big wreck behind him. The 7 of Wofford. Hard into the inside wall. Cars scatter everywhere, but for the top spot, a move not going to be made. Checkered flag and a ticket to the championship. Frank Musilia III is going to take the race win at Talladega. He'll take home the trophy for the FDNY NYPD Never Forget Classic, the memorial race for the September 11th, 14th anniversary this year. They wreck behind it, but most importantly, Frank Musilia is going to be able to challenge for another championship because he is going to the iSuper Chase. And a little bit of contact post-race. Seth the Merchant not happy with the 28 car. That's the 2nd week in a row we've seen some post-race contact.
Yeah, man. Somebody somebody not happy right there, and that's gonna, I don't know, that might get reviewed by the race officials there if there's gonna be any kind of further action needed or not. But Seth the Merchant really taking things to the extreme here at the end.
So the 7 car, you saw the contact coming out of quarter number 4. Rock Wofford will go from a top 10 spot to a 28th place result. He was on the inside, pushed up the slightest bit, and Brandon Chaburko putting the pinch on him, left no room for error. The 2 car, almost pulling a Clint Boyer blow over there. He goes down to the inside. The 48 car gets involved. Josh Ball comes back up the hill into race traffic. Spinning out of control. He gets into the 10 car. I'll call it Danica Patrick. It's a red, white, and blue 10, though, of Ryan Keese. Gets into Keese. Josh Ball goes airborne. The 10 car goes airborne. 8 gets into him. An absolute melee. Told you there was 31 cars so we could have the big one. It happens coming to the start-finish line, but there was not enough of a move by Frank Busilia to allow Jorgensen to get to the inside. And we talked to Seth the Merchant, Andy, after that B-main, and he said he didn't think it would work. And that 24 that he made the move of Josh Hanner, a series veteran, the 94 wasn't falling for any tricks. He hung that yellow line. That's all it took.
It's all it took, and a great job by all these guys to survive that wreck there at the end and to get down to get the checkered flag. So a few guys that we thought were going to be up there in that final 3, and with 2 laps to go, kind of found themselves falling back there into some trouble. But a great job by Frank Busilia getting the win, getting his ticket to the chase, and another good race by the 88 of Mark Jorgensen. He's been catching fire here as of late, continuing to run up front week in and week out, and it doesn't matter if he's in this car or in the truck.
So Frank Busilia is going to burn down what's left of that number 94 McDonald's Ford Fusion. A winner tonight at Talladega. Mark Jorgensen Jr., Rod Flag, the veterans, took over late at Talladega. They'll sweep the podium, and we'll talk to them in just a couple of moments. We'll step away one last time on LSRTV and the post-race show from the virtual Talladega Superspeedway. Coming right now. You're watching the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series Season 5 on LSRTV. The FDNY NYPD Never Forget Classic goes to Frank Busilia.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks.
We're back live from the virtual Talladega Superspeedway with the iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series from Talladega. Race number 2 on the Season 5 championship in the books. The FDNY 343, the NYPD 23. Never Forget Classic goes to Frank Busilia. Dominating fashion there at the end, an exciting fashion nonetheless, much like we saw in the B-Main. Chaos out of the final corner. The gap between the top two ended up being 8/100ths of a second. Before we talk to the drivers that came home on that front row, caught up with the driver that comes home in third place tonight. Did the topic of conversation on that last restart was, look at the top five. Three of them are some dark horse names. Well, the veterans took over, and one of those champions, prior champions in this series that we were talking about being up front, one of them was Rod Flaggett. He comes home on the podium tonight with a third place result. Rod, first off, congrats. You started third, you finished third, but it wasn't that smooth sailing for you guys. Fell back a little bit and had to fight and claw for that one.
Yeah, thanks, Evan. The Cheerios Never Forget Ford was is good tonight. We were running up there, did get in an accident around lap 20, but we definitely with the way the new iRacing bill came out there, it definitely is to my liking, and we're running some higher speeds and a little bit more car control and using your tires and trying to figure out where you want to be, and it was just a really good run. We ended up being in the right place at the right time. The high line really just with those amount of laps remaining wasn't good enough to come back together, and so I knew the low line, if I could get down there, was going to be the place to be, and just happened to be following the 88 and 12 almost got by me, but boy, I mean, good start to the season so far.
It was an exciting race for sure. The first time that we saw the feature race format on the Season 5 championship, but the first time we've not been in Daytona in 5-6 weeks, nearly all the way through the Season 4 championship and Speed Weeks. Coming back to Talladega, being the first racetrack that you guys come into with this new build, you feel like maybe the wider racetrack gave you guys a little bit more room to experiment what that would endure in this large pack of cars. We saw 3-4 wide at times out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on with us figuring out what the track heat and the new things with the new build and how that works, and how getting rubber down on the track, how that makes the cars work. What it ends up doing is it ends up making the cars really tight, and so you really had to, if you're running the low line, you really had to watch kind of where you're going, because your car wanted to actually drift up a little bit. Some of that probably is the speeds, and we're going to work on getting the setup right, and I think we do want to slow the cars down a little bit lower. I mean, I was going into, I think the high point of going into a corner was at one point 211 miles per hour, and that's the fastest I've probably ever seen us go entering a corner in Talladega or Daytona. So I think there's definitely an effort that we're going to want to slow the cars down just to have a little bit better car control. But with the rubber coming down and the tightness of the setup and the way it's going on, it was definitely a challenge tonight.
And albeit just 2 regular season races in, still a long way to go before we have to talk about cut lines and such. But Frank Busilia, with his win tonight, he'll be in that iSuper chase. You would like to join him, because nobody yet has become a multi-time iSuperSpeedway.com Racing Series champion. This obviously a new package. We always talk about the new draft models whenever there's a new build out, and that was really a big topic of discussion back in Season 4. You guys have some experience now. Is this a package that you can go out there and win in the number 26 machine, not only to get yourself into that championship, but you feel strong enough that maybe you again can be a championship contending race car?
Absolutely. We've shown our strength, from the shootout on. We won the shootout and had a great run in the 500. You were the only car that actually tried to make a move on the outside in the iSuperSpeedway 500, and if one person goes with us, who knows? I could have won that race. So we've had a really strong start to the season, being third in points going into the Starkville in Alabama 250 next week. That's a way better start to the season than we had last season, and I think a lot of what happened last season, us not getting in the chase, was a rough start to the season and finishing really down in the 500, and having the 500 last season being a double points race. So now that we don't have double points races and that we have a great start, again we didn't have a very good duel, but at the same time our 500 and this race has been very strong. So 3 races in, we're right there, and I certainly think we have what it takes to win a race, but it's that would be the preferred method. But again, I won that championship without winning a race, but again, we went to victory lane this season in Daytona in the shootout, so I know we're capable, and we're going to do everything in our power to bring the Cheerios forward to victory lane at some point in the season. It'd be really nice to get that trophy.
Had a strong run tonight, put you guys on the right step. Third tonight, third in the points through 2 of the regular season races. Rod, sponsors and shout outs to all of those good people. Who powers that number 26 Ford Fusion?
Yeah, it's LSRTV, everything you guys do, Evan, Laura, everybody who's up in the booth tonight. You guys make us look good on a weekly basis, and just appreciate everything that happens. I want to thank or congratulate Frank on his win. He's one of the best in the series, and be able to compete with him, and again, another good run there from Mark and what he did tonight. So I just want to thank again, it's the Cheerios team is we're back. We're going to do everything in our power to win this championship this season, and I think season 5 is definitely something we're gonna try to win that championship and bring the I want to be the second multi-time champion. Whatever Frank wants to say about that, but we're gonna definitely try.
Well, a good run tonight again, Rod. Thanks for sticking around and chatting with us. Congratulations on the podium. Best of luck. We'll see you right back here at Talladega next Friday night.
Thanks, guys.
That is your third place finisher, Andy Kessler. You've caught up on the pit lane, but the driver who was acting as the predator there, coming to the checkered flag, not enough to be able to get the win, but the 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. comes home in second. You're with him.
That's right, I am down here on pit road, and Mark climbing out of his car. You look a little beat, a little tired. Long race, enduring race. You had to come from the start in the front, go to the back, come back to the front. How was it like moving through traffic here tonight?
Oh, Andy, it was something else. Like you said, started up at the front. Had a real good qualifying effort. Kind of fell back a couple spots there at the early going. Kind of hooked up with my teammate there, and kind of in the wrong spot. He tried to set up a pass to go around some people, and ended up taking me and him out. So that kind of relegated me back to about 30th, I think it was, and only had 20 something laps left. So I had to go balls to the wall. I had to pass cars where they weren't, and luckily I was able to get back to a top 5 position. I mean, this is awesome.
Now the high side, it seems a lot of guys are talking with this new package that maybe the high side would rubber in, maybe get some more grip, maybe actually be better than the bottom line on a long run. Did you notice any difference out there with this? I'll call it a medium-sized race, almost 50 laps. Did you notice a difference at all with the tire and how it worked on this track?
Yeah. The outside was definitely the faster groove. A lot of cars on the bottom just riding around, just rubbers it up and heats up the bottom groove. So that leaves the outside to be a little bit cooler, got more grip. But the outside was way faster. Guys just don't really stay committed to the outside to show its true speed. They always try to filter back down to the bottom, and then the bottom starts prevailing. But for sure, I mean, once the inside groove started rubbering up and getting hot, the outside is where you wanted to be.
Well, that's good. Then maybe it'll play an effect on some of the longer ones that we see throughout the season here. Well, Mark, good start to the season. We talked about you finished second in the race. You're second in the point standings. Consistency, if a win doesn't come, a consistency is going to get you into this chase. Who do you want to thank powering you to this strong start so far this season?
Andy, first and foremost, I want to thank Rod Flagg. I know we all say it every single week. He absolutely does an amazing job for putting this league together. He really has a good group of guys. I think he's got the best drivers that race on the super speedway tracks, bar none. Like to thank Kyle Gary, secondly, for painting this amazing paint scheme. This nationwide patriotic car was really badass. I mean, I definitely liked it. Like to thank my teammates, Josh Hanner, Josh Ball, Henrik Motorsports. They put together a good car up underneath me, and it was just a privilege to drive it, and really ecstatic to finish P2 with it.
Well, there you go. Congratulations again on the second place finish, and good luck next week. Obviously, some practice. Use this as some practice at Talladega for next week's race also. Well, congratulations again, and I think Evan has caught up with our winner here tonight who punched his ticket to the chase.
And I'll always talk to Frank after the race, and I'll say, if you win, I need you to win because I'd like an excuse to go to McDonald's or something. So I get a McFlurry tonight because the 94 goes to Victory Lane. Frank Busilia, our winner tonight at Talladega. Frank, first off, congratulations. Big race here tonight with the Never Forget Classic and the little bit of a special paint scheme as well on board that 94. Getting the job done. 8th to 1st was the plus minus, and that one you gained 7 spots to win this race. It was a clean 94. A lot of other people couldn't say that, though. That was a really fun race, at least for us. I don't know how it was for you behind the wheel, but the new package, the track rubbering in, the outside challenging, all of it was fun. You're just lucky the outside wasn't good enough for the 88 there at the end. You hold on. How'd you get it done?
Yeah, that was a mega fun race. Just carrying so much more speed. I don't know if it was just the weather or set or if this is the new package. We were getting hella runs on the outside, or we're able to suck up behind people now. Work together a lot easier. So it was all a new experience for everybody, I'm assuming. And I'll however we got it, I'll take it. But that was probably one of the more exciting ones I've won. So I'll take them how I can get them.
You'll take the trophy, you'll take the ticket into the iSuper Chase for Season 5. So we're telling everybody it's still early for you. You maybe not a vacation, but for the next 11 weeks, you can go up there to kind of experiment with things as everybody else will be, trying to learn how these tracks rubber in, trying to pad that win column before you go back to work. And talking with Rod said he wants to be the first one to become a multi-time champion. He said that we'll see how you think about it. I'm sure you have a different view on how you'd like all of that to go down. So you're on the right track for sure. But with the track rubbering in, we talked to Seth the Merchant when he won the B Main, and he said that things were slowly working on the outside. He said maybe 20 laps here, we'd get something serious going. But because this was the first feature race on the year, B Main and A Main, we didn't have an extremely long stretch. We're going to be back here at Talladega in 1 week's time for another one of the staple events on the season for the Stars Fell on Alabama 250. That's 94 laps at Talladega. Do you think that outside's going to be that much more of a factor there, or do you feel like you guys got enough experience here to kind of have the general idea of how that's going to work?
No, I think with a longer race, it'll definitely play a factor. It did seem the longer the race went, better the runs got up top, cars got tighter on the bottom. Or just lack of grip in general, which allowed the top to maybe get those better runs, along with the difference in speed tonight. We were running like 209, 210. So I think in the longer races it'll definitely come into play. And then of course lighter fuel cells, hopefully having long green runs during those long races, mixing it up a bit. It's gonna turn out to be a hell of a season so far.
It's definitely been an exciting start, and for you, tonight has not hurt that excitement at all. A very strong run. You get the win as well. We talk about this iSuper Chase, and when we were talking about the truck tour, we talk about how because there's no chase, we were talking with Josh earlier this evening, because the difference is in that as far as being a 15-race season, no chase. Here, there is the chase. So it has to give you a different mentality. You have that win. There's still 11 races to go, and the chase has 10 spots. So, I mean, technically, you're not locked in, although we would expect the 94 to have no issues getting that done. 2 more races, and you guys will essentially be locked in that regard. But you look forward at these next 11 races. Does being locked in change at all what you do, or do you just put that in your back pocket? Does it let you be a little bit more aggressive? How do you approach these being locked in so early on in the year? It's still a couple of months before you fight for that championship that you're going to be going for.
Well, it's new for me. I mean, last season there was definitely some controversy when I ended up getting the Daytona 07 win, and that was pretty late in the season. So I'm not quite sure how to answer your question there. Being locked in this early, I guess still go out, try to run for wins. Nothing really changes there. Just as long as we stay in the top 30 in points when we get to the chase, that's what matters. So we're still going to run hard and get all we can get before chase time.
They need to avoid going Star Mazda testing, and you'll be good to be able to fight for this championship. A win tonight, You're going to get the hardware. I'm sure it'll be a nice one, as always, for all of these race wins, Frank. Sponsors and shout-outs, as always. Who makes it happen, and who powered you to this win here and locking yourself into the Season 5 title fight?
Yeah, first off, my wife, she saw me win the race, and she's like, where am I gonna put this trophy? There's no room. So I'll put her to work in finding a spot for it. But I want to thank her for letting me run these things at night. Greg Hooks for getting me out front there on that restart. Not sure what happened with the bottom, but Greg, and I forget who was behind him, gave me a huge push. I don't think he finished very well, so I kind of bummers it out a little bit, but got to throw him a huge shout out. Rod Flagway Racing, of course, LSRTV and you guys for what you do. Broadcasts are always top notch, awesome, 100% amazing. And we had different colors on the car, 9/11. Of course, it's the 12th now, but we had the Golden Heroes Day, so all the military, fire, police, EMS, everybody that allows us our freedoms and allows us to do what we love doing here. Got to throw all those men and women out there a huge shout out as well. But thank you guys again, and hopefully we'll see you in Victory Lane soon.
And again, those names on tonight's race, the FDNY 343 and the NYPD 23. Never forget my diet tonight and getting a McFlurry from the McDonald's drive-thru. Congratulations, Zoe, on your win. Best of luck. We'll see you next week at Talladega. And as well, on top of that, we'll see you in this title fight much longer from now.
Thank you, Evan.
So that is your race winner, driving the number 94 machine, Frank Busilia, the series champion from back in season 1. Now has another opportunity to get another one. I'm again still way down the road. Andy Kessler just 2 races in, 11 races on the regular season still to go. But now we have our second driver locked into the chase.
No, and that's a good thing. Lock yourself in. It takes some pressure off of you, especially if you end up with a bad race or two here down the stretch with such short seasons. We're not talking. This isn't a NASCAR 26 races where you could have 3 luxury of that. And you know what? Maybe one bad race you can get away with, a couple mediocre ones, but you're not going to get it done with 3 or 4 bad races. So to get the win, lock yourself in. Takes a lot of pressure off. You can go for wins now. Not that you're not any week, but you can roll the dice, maybe a fuel mileage game or something like that, and try something different because that bad race won't hurt you.
And if you get that win, all you got to do, maintain the top 30 in points, and you're ready to rock and roll. The one catch is, again, the chase has been kind of adjusted a little bit this year, and the line is 10 drivers. So with 13 regular season races and 2 races and 2 winners, if we have 13 different winners, a win does not necessarily lock you in. Now, if you look at prior seasons and such, we'll probably have 3 or 4 drivers that get multiple wins, but it's not a lock-in, it's an essential lock-in. I'll say you get 2 wins and you're good to go. But Frank Busilia taking a step in the right direction tonight. He wins it, and that wraps things up. As he said, cross it over now already the 12th of September on the East Coast. We'll wrap things up here from Talladega. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in. Do want to thank everybody at iSuperSpeedway for making these Friday night doubleheaders on LSRTV possible. You can check them out at iSuperSpeedway.com online. Also on Twitter at iSuperSpeedway, and they also have a Facebook page. That's facebook.com/iSuperSpeedway. Do want to thank the Ron Carr Board of Directors, Race Director and Chairman of the Board, Rod Flagg, Vice Chairman of the Board, Frank Busilia III, Competition Director, Josh Hanner, and as well all of the General Counsel, drivers, and sponsors. Big thanks to Josh Ball for being the sponsor on tonight's race. A lot of exciting stuff coming up this week on LSRTV. If you enjoyed the Ron Carr Truck Tour at Darlington, we got more of that to come. The Pacific Majors Round 8, the Interwest 3M Southern 500 at Darlington this Sunday, September the 13th at 9 o'clock Eastern. That's 500 miles at the Lady in Black. You're not going to want to miss that one. And then as well, this coming Monday, the 14th at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series presented by Gary Mercer Trucking. Final race before they go into the chase from Richmond International Raceway. The next time we'll be out on a Friday evening, another doubleheader. Next Friday evening, September the 18th at 8:05 p.m. Eastern, the Ron Carr Truck Tour takes on round 4 from Charlotte. And then at 10 o'clock Eastern, the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series goes for round 3 for the Stars Fell on Alabama 250. If you want to stay up to date with LSRTV, you can check us out online at livesimracing.com, the home of the NASCAR iRacing.com Pro Series, as well on Facebook at facebook.com/livesimracingtv. You can find post-race recaps, news, other press from inside the sim racing world online through our social media and through our partners at Race Chaser Online at iRacing News. Again, a big big congratulations to Frank Musilia. He wins, and he's in the championship. On behalf of the LSRTV broadcast crew all night long, on behalf of myself, Evan Pizzoco, Andy Kessler, and our executive producer, Laura Lawson, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next Friday night back here at Talladega on LSRTV.